That's the chat saying sorted. All right. Yet another evening in the van. Whew. All right. I guess it's time to wait for some people to come in. I'll say hello to all the people who decide to watch after the facts. Thanks very much for popping in. Get in the comments and tell me, are you part of my YouTube family or just some random person checking out some videos? I'm always interested to see, because people definitely pop in after the stream, but I never know who it is. The YouTube stats don't really give too much detail on that, about who was in during the live and who was in after. But yeah, I'd be really interested to know. So yeah, it's a cold one tonight, really cold one. And I've got the stove on. Let me flick the camera around so I can give you a better look. Yeah, I've got the stove on, but I've done something interesting this evening, or rather the whole day. I have not got wood in my stove. I've got a bit of charcoal, and as you can see, I've got a nice bed of it there, and it does give out a lovely bit of radiated heat. Now this is partly out of necessity, and partly because I'm always interested about fuels and what is the most efficient in my stove. Every stove is a bit different, and every fuel is a bit different. So I'm always interested to see what is going to be the best thing that works with my stove. So we're going to chat about that today and see if we can't find anyone in my YouTube family who has a little bit more knowledge than I do about stoves and things like that, because it would be interested. Hi Sparker, just angling the camera. There we go. Right, best get the other device so I can see the chat. Hopefully it's got some battery power. Yeah, 57%. Sweet. Bear with me for one moment. How you doing, Sparker? How you been today? There we have it. Chat settings, all chat. There we go. And we have Rohan in. Hi, Rohan. Is it nice and warm? I can give you a massage for free. I would love a massage, but for some reason, I don't think that's going to work over chat. But yeah, I am not cold because I'm in the van and it's nice and, well, it's not toasty in here. I keep it at like a comfortable temperature most of the time. I don't go for burning through my fuel, but also I am trying a new fuel out today, as I just mentioned. Yeah, you can sort of see the glow in there. No idea about stoves, but prefer briquettes in camping stoves. Yeah, so I've got some lumpwood charcoal in here, and I've been looking into it today. Just essentially, let me show you the bag of stuff, and I might even put some more in, just to make things better. Now, obviously, I normally use the wood. This is like half a log or heat log from Home Bargains. These things are by far, for the weight, and like what you do is you basically work out the weight of something and the calorific value, or I usually go by kilowatt hours. So essentially, I think like a kilogram of that kind of wood will have something like about 4,000 odd kilowatt hours to a kilogram. And those logs, I've weighed them, they're about 1.9 kilos each. So in a pack of 5, you're obviously getting a fair few kilos. What I have been burning today is what's left of my charcoal that I bought for Friday. I used some then, and I'd say I have probably about, from where this bag started, I'm probably a little way over halfway through it. I think I have about half of what I did have left. So I've not even used half a bag yet. Yeah, I feel like I've got a couple, I might even have 2 kilos left in there, I'm not sure, but it's a 4 kilo bag, as you can see. I know this is like basically flipped around, I apologise, but it's basically Home Fire lumpwood charcoal. I can get this fairly cheaply from a place nearby. I'm not sure how much that one cost me. maybe £6-7. I'm not sure, but I know that if I was to buy that from Homefire directly, it would probably be about 560 or something like that, 559. I'm not sure. But essentially, I went yesterday to Home Bargains to get my fuel. I needed to do a trip just to run the van a little bit, and I popped in and I got a couple other bits. Went to the part where they normally have all the heat logs. Empty, absolutely empty. I was gutted. So I had a quick look to see where the next closest Home Bargains was, and it was basically down all the way to Stevenage, but they were going to be closed way before I could get there. So I started to think about it. What am I going to do? Do I just go to B&M around the corner and get some there, heat logs there, the next sort of best value, I guess. Excuse the noise, I've got my laptop over there doing a little bit of exporting of some videos. Oh, we've got Chloe in. Hi, Chloe. Good to see you. Now, I'm guessing that's not actually your real name, because Chloe Getz, I'm sure, is isn't that like a famous person? I don't know. But so I'm guessing that's just your sort of name that you use on here, or is Chloe actually your name and it's just you put Getz at the end for a bit of fun? I don't know. Well, I am interested in that, actually. But yeah, Home Bargains is brilliant. I'm in there whenever I need fuel, for sure, and I do pop in there for other bits and pieces. The boys' favourite thing from Home Bargains, it's the only place they can get it from, and when I was there, I did stop and get them some, because they're always asking, can we go to Home Bargains and get some marshmallow mateys? They love these things. I don't know what it is about them, but they absolutely love those things. Oh, you are, Chloe. That's cool then. And you get. Oh, fair enough then. What do you get? Hopefully my jokes. I don't know. But yeah, but good to have you in, Chloe. How's your day been? Did you answer me, Sparker? I asked you how your day is. And Rohan, how are you doing? How's your day? Yeah, mine's been sort of all right, a bit boring. I've been doing some, I don't know if I can show, yeah, like you can just see a bit of the t-shirt there. I did I got some of my washing dry, did another load, got that dry, and just been tinkering around with my hot water system. I've got a new pump which is a bit more powerful to push through around the system. Anyone who's watched my videos recently will know that I've been tinkering with my hot water / heating sort of coils and that and system around the van, that this stove down here heats up all the water for. And one of the issues I was finding is that one-way valves that I put in are creating too much resistance, or too much head, as they would call it in water terms. We can save the innuendos for later, but essentially it's just too much resistance for the pump, and it was slowing down the flow. So instead of the 8-watt pumps I was using, I've got a 10-watt pump, and that's now really pumping and it's got a good flow. Actually, I'm really impressed with these pumps. I'm going to see whether how much of an effect it has on battery life with the like use of power, but I'm going to go. Let me just check to see if anyone's. Oh no, I don't think anyone's replied in the chat yet. Unfortunately, my internet here is pretty shocking. So hopefully all the chat comes through okay. Let me just check the settings didn't just mess up on that now. Oh, it's gone back to top messages only. Oh, how annoying. Let's go to all messages. Oh, there we go. Chloe says, anything I want. Yes, a nice Sunday, hiking in the morning and exploring an abandoned village in the afternoon. Oh, nice. So I guess you're not in your rooftop tent at the moment, are you? Or are you back at your normal home? An abandoned village. Where's that then? That sounds really cool. That sounds interesting. That's the sort of thing I should have on a video, isn't it? So what was I talking about anyway? Yeah. So I couldn't get my fuel from home. Like I've been twiddling today with the system. Got the new pump in, and while I was doing that, like as I was saying, I couldn't get the fuel that I wanted, and I thought about, do I go to B&M's? They've got heat logs as well, and they're like the next best value, or I could just pick up some from Aldi's, which are still pretty cheap, but weight for weight and weight to price, because with the wood it's basically all roughly the same. They're all different, which means they all have a different burning characteristic. For instance, the Home Bargain ones aren't as easy to use as the B&M ones. The Audi ones, you can literally use one at a time, and they burn really quite quickly, but they're not as long lived. So they're a bit tricky in depending on what you're after. If you want a long burn time, the Audi ones don't really work that well. These ones are really good. These ones can literally burn for hours, and if I do it right, I can get them through most of the night, which is really cool. But I've been interested for a while. I have done coal in this, and coal, if you get the right coals, is arguably cheaper than the logs if you get the right ones. But the issue is, you in order to get like the burn through the night, for instance, they don't give off a consistent heat. They give it off a lot of it at the start, and then they kind of choke up with ash, and you don't get much left after that. And it's just a bit of a hassle really to just try to make them work, and you get a lot of ash. Where weirdly, when I use the wood in this, I don't get as much ash, and it is far easier to control. And I think, like, sort of working price to kilowatt hours, and you have to do a bit of maths on it. The logs that I use from Home Bargains are about the same as the coal I was using. I figured on Furnace-site, because although it's quite an expensive coal, it works the best in this stove. I've tried a few, and I do try to go for smokeless fuels because, as someone was asking, do I get any aggro about smoke coming out of my chimney, because I'm obviously not a very high chimney, and the key to that is to use smokeless fuels so I don't cause any problems. Oh, we've got some more. Sorry, Chloe, I'll read your message now. I'm going to do a few days a week if I can take it. I'll go full time. Oh, I see. You're going to do like a bit of testing. I see that. I can save so much money. Yeah, that's cool. Imber Village. It was taken over by the army in 1943 to train in on Salisbury Plain. That is cool. That is cool. So you like to get around and do a bit of hiking then? That's a nice thing to do. I got to admit, I don't get around to do as much hiking as I would like, because I've got a bit of. I used to do a lot of solo hiking, especially for the channel. I'm not doing so much anymore because I keep meaning to get back out and do some solo hiking. Even just a little walk the other day that I did. I like to take some bottles to the bottle bank and back again. I was like, oh, I need more time when I'm just walking and not doing anything. So I want to get a solo hike in at some point, and I think I'll do that fairly soon. But I do have a tendency to prefer now to walk with friends, like Noah or Tim. It's just nice to have company on the walks. But yeah, because I think that's partly because I have a lot of time to myself in the van now, and it used to be the flip. I used to be always have someone at home or in the van, like with the boys and my ex, and so I kind of was looking for a way to get away and have some me time. Now I have a lot of me time. I want more sort of time with others, so I think that's partly where the stream came from as well. But yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, so I had a choice. Do I go get some fuel, some other logs, and wait for weight? I say the Home Bargains are the cheapest. Probably the most usable, just a smidge, is maybe the B&M stuff, but the price value with the Home Bargain stuff is significant. They are by far the cheapest logs, and as I was saying, they actually match up against Coles, which is quite impressive when you're talking price for price to kilowatt hour sort of energy. Charcoal, on the other hand, price to kilowatt hours does not match up. It's usually somewhere about like double the cost for the same kilowatt hours. But there are a couple of caveats to that, because it's not as clear as just how many kilowatt hours does the fuel have and how much does it cost. You also have to consider the efficiency of how you're burning them. So I don't run this at full efficiency, because you're supposed to have it at like a really high temperature and like kind of fill it up quite a lot, and that makes the stove run very efficiently. But if I did that, I'd cook myself out of this place. I really would. It would be incredibly like hot. So I run it with only a little bit of fuel in there, which means it's not as efficient. And I'm aware that probably what's happening is I'm actually losing a lot of my energy from the fuel up the flue pipe and out. That happens a lot more when you've got a lot of flame, rather than when you get down to embers. Embers generally don't convect so much heat up. They actually radiate more heat out. And I have noticed that when I'm putting the yeah, like this is running way hotter. Like I can barely touch this thing compared to like the other night when someone was asking me, am I burning my arm? And I'm like, not really, no, because this thing doesn't get that hot, not with the wood in it. for the, I reckon I put an equivalent amount in terms of volume of charcoal as I would as I would with the heat logs, and this thing is kicking out a fair bit more heat. Admittedly, it's still not like super hot in here because obviously I'm disseminating some of that heat around the rest of the van, and it is really cold tonight. But it's starting to make me wonder, even though these cost basically twice as much per kilowatt hour, like like by the strict sort of sense of it, how much of the heat of this is actually being lost up that flue pipe compared to the wood when I have to sort of burn it through. And the burn profile on the charcoal is the best out of everything. Unlike coal, it doesn't kick off straight away and then die off. You can get like an even burn for a long time. But unlike the wood, it's much easier to kind of maintain and control. I can like leave a trail of charcoal in here, which basically burns from one end to the other to lengthen it out, and I can adjust exactly how much sort of fuel I want for how much heat output. So I could whack in loads of charcoal right now and get this really cranked. But I can also choose to have a very little bit. With the logs, it's quite hard to split them down to less than half the size. So there's a lot of benefits to the charcoal, and I've been looking around online, what kind of options have I got, and I've seen these quite big sort of long briquette things that they use in restaurants, which are supposedly burn for a very long time. Some of them up to like 7 hours, and I'm thinking, oh, could I get some and put them in? Hi, Catherine, and Graham's in as well. Nice to see you. To see you, nice. There'll be a Brucey bonus at some point. I like that. So yeah, so I don't know if this is really interesting to many people, but it is to me. This is the sort of thing I love just messing around with. And I did look online to try to get out like get as many sort of figures on this as I could, and there's just no figures that I could find on how much like you lose efficiency from like just the like unburnt gases going up there, but also just the general sort of when you've got a flame going and it's pushing up a lot more heat. There was a consensus that overall, if you're using if you've got a wood burning stove, right, this is multi-fuel, so it's a bit, that's another thing. You see, this is a multi-fuel stove, and if you're looking at wood burning stoves, then they are more efficient with wood. A multi-fuel can burn either, but it's basically really geared towards doing coal, although this does have draw that comes like this, it does draw air down from the top across the door, so it can get airflow from the top or from the bottom. But so I don't think it does either that well, and it's not the most efficient stove. They've got really efficient ones that get like 80% efficient, secondary burn chambers and all sorts of stuff. This is a pretty bog standard stove, and I think this is probably running at like 50 to 60% efficiency, and I think that's probably even lower because, like I say, I'm burning less fuel at any given time, not really getting the temp chops like fully, and I think a lot of it goes up the flue pipe. So I am curious, and I'm wondering how much of an effect it has. And so I had that choice: do I get some fuel from one of these other shops, or do I just use up this bag of charcoal in my stove? Because I can go get another bag of this charcoal pretty quick and easy, because the shop for this is not that far away, and I'm not planning on doing a huge amount of barbecues anytime soon. But I was thinking, why not I try that in here? Because I've got a bag, why not just give it a shot and do a little bit of like testing myself? And so far, it's pretty close. Like the ease of use is right there. I mean, I can let it like slow burn for ages. It's way more usable than the wood. So I'm just trying to do the calculations, like does it in terms of like how much is it going to cost to run it, and is it going to match out? What's the rules on log burners? Don't the government want to ban all fireplaces in homes by 2050? Quite possibly, but I have the loophole to that, if you like. My home is on wheels, so anything they put in place for what you can or cannot do in a home doesn't apply in here. For instance, the rules on my electrics and my gas installation and things like that, it's all very different. I didn't need to get a gas certified engineer in here to basically put my hose pipes from my canisters into my cooker and like my hob and stuff like that. because it's really simple stuff, and I'm not doing it in a home. So it's technically my home, sure, but it's on wheels, and so it doesn't fall underneath sort of the household regulation stuff. I think if I was renting this out to people, I might need some electricians to sign off on some things maybe. But yeah, I did all the electrics and all the plumbing and all the gas work in here myself, because there aren't really any regulations on that, which is weird. And I don't know if they're going to try to bring in regulations about what you can and cannot do with a stove in a vehicle. It's such a niche thing. It's so few people that I think do it. It's one of those ones that they can't probably be bothered to deal with it and just let it slide. Oh, Catherine says, I'm in Arizona, so this isn't a possibility. Wood, yes. Coal, no. That's fair play. Does it get cold enough for stoves in Arizona? I think, like, in my mind, I just think warm place, but then I guess maybe the nights get cold. I'd be really interested, actually. Yeah. Tell me about, like, Arizona a bit. Does it get cold enough for you to need a stove? Is it just like at night time, or do you sometimes get days that are that cold? Because Arizona, obviously, America is like that. I get that much, but I can't quite remember where in America that is and how sort of north or south Arizona is. Yeah, my American geography is not solid at all. I know a few places that are like the big swing sort of ones that everyone sort of knows. Like I could probably roughly point out where New York is, or Miami, or I think Las Vegas even, maybe, probably Seattle. Like the coastal stuff, I think, like where you see on TV shows are based and stuff, and you kind of have knowledge. But a lot of other stuff I kind of very vague on. But yeah, I mean, lately I've been actually harvesting my own wood. And so this is another thing. I've been harvesting my own wood to kind of do small burns with. And I'm realizing that if I'm sort of doing a fair bit of that to, like, balance out the cost, even if the charcoal costs a little bit more, if I'm not always using the charcoal and sometimes throwing the wood in, because I think the charcoal makes sense for like a long-term burn. Well, I've got to do it all day long. Like this week is going to get so cold, we're going to get down to freezing conditions at night time. This stove is going to be on almost constantly now, which is why I pushed to get that pump in as well, because I really wanted it working 100% effectively. But for short burns where I'm just having a little, like, it's a bit chilly, I warm it up in the evening or whatever, I think some of the free wood that I just collect from the woodlands, I think would do the job. Mr. Plumtree and family is back in. Hi. Good to see you. And Sparker giving you the wave as well. Yeah, I'm just prattling on about my stove at the moment. I'm going to put some fuel in, I think. That's a good moment to stop. Give it a little knock just to get rid of some of the ash, but I don't need to get rid of loads of it. There's like, this is where they talk about fires being half science and half art, and this is the art part where you need feedback from what you're doing to understand how it works and what you need to do. So I've been getting feedback all day long to figure out how this works, and if I clear out all of the ash, this thing just gets raging really quickly. If I don't clear out any ash, it struggles to get the next bit lit within the time that I would like it to, because I'm trying to get this to build up some heat, and I'll be honest, it has built up quite a bit of nice heat now. Actually, it's quite good. So there's like this happy medium of how much ash I leave in. Look at that. Look. Tell me you have a stove at home without telling me you have a stove at home. Sheesh. Oh, let's go outside. Says you are in a woodland hut. Where are you? So I'm in the UK. Do you mean you're in Australia? Or are you thinking I am because I sound like you think I've got an Australian accent? I'm not sure what you're coming to. But no, I'm not in a wood hut. I'm in a van. I guess you're new to the channel. I'm a van lifer, so I live in my van here in the UK, and yeah, this is how I keep my van warm. Catherine says, "Laugh out loud. Let's teach, shall we? Arizona, southwest of the continent, so southwest. Yes, that's roughly where I thought it was. Yeah, yeah. I wasn't sure how west it was, but I was right about it being south then. 115 degrees is not unusual. So yeah, it does get hot. It does get cold, but there are many regulations. Oh, you like heavily regulated. Yeah, that's. I think that's a thing in America, isn't it? There's a lot of states with lots of regulations. We have plenty of our own, to be fair. So there's areas in the UK where it's like they're smoke control zones, is what they call them, and you only allowed to use certain fuels, and your stoves have to be like certified to a certain like efficiency and stuff. Because essentially, if you've just got any old stove and you put any old fuel in, you can be billowing out smoke, and it's nasty. And I'll be honest, I've been through a few places around here because there's no smoke control around these parts. And people do have some really nasty coal fires where they're not really maintaining things properly. And yeah, I can tell you that's not nice when you have just one. But if you had multiple, that would be pretty atrocious, to be honest. See, I don't think I've got enough ash gone. I see. This is something new I've tried before. I was doing that before I put the new coal in. This time I've done it after, just to see what happens. I think before works a bit better. I mean, I can hear it, the sound of it like going ting, 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 ting. I don't know if that comes across. Let me get my mic in close. Can you hear that? Such a quiet sound, but it just sounds like tiny little pieces of glass breaking or something. And that's the sound of the charcoal just getting lit. Yeah, get the tongs involved. I think that'll do it. Yeah, just a little bit messing about. As I say, I've only been doing this today, so I'm still learning the ropes of how the charcoal likes to be treated in there. Let's go outside. Says cool. Oh, UK. Sorry, I thought you were in an Australian. No, definitely British. Everyone I know is talking about van life. There is a mass awakening in the world, and his old souls want to escape. That's true. And to be fair, not a lot of people, I think, know this. And this is not fact checks at all, but I'm pretty certain that one of the oldest cultures in the world that still exists are the Romanis, which is obviously like Romani gypsies and stuff. And they're like, obviously theirs is a very nomadic lifestyle. Then there's been others that have cropped up. So in this country we have like a lot of what they call travellers, and that can be Irish travellers or English travellers, and they're communities of people where they're all their communities for like, I don't know, centuries, I guess, have been like nomadic, like living. And obviously a long time ago it would have been like, I suppose, horse and cart, but or horse and wagon or whatever. But then obviously it transferred into people in caravans, and I've met some English travellers, and I think maybe a few Irish travellers as well. They sort of met up with a community of travellers, which because there's like it's what we call a travellers site, where the government actually provides sites where these travellers can actually not settle per se, but they kind of like, they go there and that's where they can kind of stay with their vehicles, and I guess they might have some permanent residences in these places as well. I don't really know how it all works, but one of the oldest cultures in the world is a nomadic culture, so it's not an unknown thing. But you're right, it's back on the rise, and I think a lot of that is to do with house pricing, but also this other side of it, which is like trying to get out of the rat race. And I do like my lifestyle with this, where I don't have huge bills, so I don't have to work anywhere near as much as somebody else would just to maintain a household. I mean, there are people out there who are literally struggling. They're either still living with, they're going to have to move back with their parents because they can't afford a place, or they've end up on the street or in some other bad situation, because not everyone has the capabilities to convert a van properly and to live in it full time. I mean, Chloe's talking about, I assume Chloe's still in. Chloe's talking about trialing out the van life, going full time potentially. She's doing it clever. She's taking her time with it, and that's a very good thing. A lot of people kind of just like either get pushed into it and then they're in a bad situation, like because they've had to go into it rapidly without any planning. Or some people do it, they plan it, but they rush it, and that can also go quite bad. Sparker's saying UK law clamped down on the travelling communities back in the 80s, 90s. They did. They did their utmost to basically try to. That's where all these traveller sites came from, and they wanted them all to be registered. Because I think one of the problems the government didn't like is that all these people, they couldn't track them. They didn't know what they were up to, and they wanted to know, didn't they? They want to know what we're all up to, and they want firm control of us all. So, Stephanie's in. Hi, Stephanie. How are you doing? Great to see you. I hope your day's been good. And Kit's in as well. Hi, Kit. Good to see you too. How are you doing? Chloe says, yeah, I want to do it. It's just something inside me. That's what I'm talking about, is that you've got that kind of, you want to get away from the rat race and get out there and explore the world and live some life, don't you? And yeah, that's like-minded spirits on that one. I love getting out and about. I do more of it when I have the boys. So it's kind of like it's a two for one. I only have to work every other week, although this week I'm going to do some extra work just to cover for Christmas break. So I won't be travelling much this week, and I'll be doing more work. But normally, I try to like do an even mix of spending time around in this area with the boys, but also heading off for travel and adventures with the boys. So I use my week with them to kind of do a lot more adventures and head off to places. It was a lot easier when my parents were in Scotland, because then I had the boys from Friday to Friday. Now the boys are obviously with my parents. They normally would have been here for tonight's stream, but I let them stay one extra night at their grandparents. I'm actually on their driveway this evening, so my boys are literally sleeping in the building right over there, and I'm on the front drive. So don't like the high bills, rat race. Yeah, spot on. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, out there? I mean, and it's getting worse. I watched a video yesterday about how bad things could get, because you think to yourself, it can't get much worse, but apparently it could. And they kind of make a lot of good points about how other countries have like multi-generational households is just a totally normal thing, and like even to the point where other like random families will share. And I'm like, and that's actually fairly common around the world. And so we've got a long way to go before we get to that point where we're as much as them needing to all these things to make getting home like viable. But it's obviously something that everyone's going to be struggling with. And then you've got people like ourselves where you don't necessarily want to be pinned in with a load of other people, and you want your freedom. And the way to do that is figure out something like this. I did consider like getting a like some sort of canal boat or river boat or river home, something like that, but they're just very costly, and it's actually more restrictive than you might think. You can travel, but it's a much slower pace. It's not like you can get from one end of the country to the other very quickly, and you do incur a lot of costs and that with marinas and being able to get rid of your waste and stuff like that. Whereas it's a lot simpler in a van. It really is. Spike saying loads of people with jobs in the USA have to live in their car. Yeah, do you know, over at my spot in Biggleswade lately, I've not really brought this up, but there's a person who, this happens quite regularly, where I see people on and off who are working in the nearby kind of commercial area. They end up just staying in their vehicle. Now, I've not talked to this person, but the last 2 times this has happened, I've talked to the people and found out that that's what was happening. They were just working nearby. And yeah, it's happened twice before with two separate guys, probably about a year in between, where they, like, I spotted them just sleeping very regularly in their vehicle, in their car, roughly where I parked the van. And somebody's doing it again. They literally turn up in their silver car. I think it's like a Renault or something maybe, and they just literally rolled up and they just put some stuff around the windows to kind of block out the light a bit, and then they just sleep on the. I think they might be in the passenger seat, to be fair, but like on the front seat, they just recline it and they're just laying on the front seat with a big fleece blanket on them, and you can kind of see them because they've not blocked it up like 100%. They've not done any kind of conversion or like what Louise was calling like a no build conversion, where you're just basically adding things in and you're not actually changing anything and fixing anything down. They haven't even done that. It's just literally an ad hoc kind of, I'm just putting this all in my car and I've got to sleep here. I don't know if it's because they don't have a choice or if it's just because the commute to get to their work is just too much to be bothering to go back and forth, and they're just saving their time. It's hard to say until I sort of talk to the person, but I haven't had the chance because every time I see them, they're asleep basically. But yeah, people are definitely being forced to do the whole sleep in the car like thing quite a lot. I'm quite glad that I didn't get forced into this. This was a full choice, and so it took about a year to do the conversion. That it would have been quicker, but it was during COVID and everything just got slowed down so much. Carry on camping, says Javid. Hi Javid, good to have you in. So what kind of build are you thinking about doing, Chloe? Are you going to stick to like a simple car kind of thing, or like a no build conversion, or are you actually going to maybe get a proper size van? I'd love to know your ideas on that. Who else we got? Didn't hear anything else from Stephanie. She said hi, but then she didn't tell me. How are you, Stephanie? I'm waiting to hear back from you. What have you been up to today? Right, I'm going to check on the stove while I wait for some responses in the chat. Oh yeah, I think you can sort of see that from there. But let me give you a little. There you go. That's a nice. Let me open up the door. I tell you what, the other thing with this is you can open up the door and you can really feel the heat from this stuff. It really radiates it out quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, the stove isn't as hot now because obviously it cools down as I put the new stuff in. The heat goes into actually warming up the new fuel and getting it to a temperature. But now it's going to start really heating up in here, I reckon. Especially if I leave the drawer open, I think that would get quite ragey in there. I'm going to have a little look at the radiator in here, see how warm that is. Yeah, it's not that warm. Now, I think that's because I've not got that system on. I think I've got just the hot water one. No, I do have that one. So, yeah, definitely, that's something else I'm testing today, because obviously I need to maintain the proper temperature on these sort of things. That's actually a little bit cooler than I'd want it to be, but it's not too bad. So what I do in here to maintain like the right balance is, you can see how I've got it shoved to the back. That's because at the back there isn't any coils, and there's actually a lot of ash there as well. So only, I'd say about a third of this, like the front third, which is not even the bulk of it really, is heating the coils up much. If I pulled that forward and covered up the coils, I'd get the temperature in the water system up so fast. It'd be crazy. We've got Peter Cooper in saying, evening from London. Good evening. I'm probably about, I'd say about, well, depends where you are in London. If you're in North London, sort of, I'm about, I don't know, 30 minutes from the M25, I guess. So 40 minutes from somewhere in North London. Like, but if you're central, then it'll be a lot longer than that. How are you doing, Peter? Hope you're having a good day. And what Javid's saying, by the curb caravan. My uncle got a boat in Camden Lock. Oh, nice. What kind of boat is it? Like a canal boat, or is it like a river one with the? Does he live in it, or is it one that he just takes for a bit of a trip up and down? Let me look at my other device. I'm guessing maybe Stephanie has left us for now. She has not responded. I guess this is the thing though as well. Sometimes people like Sparker, he's often playing his zombie games. He's listening, but he's not always watching. Canal boat lives in, says Javid. Oh, that's nice. In Camden Lock as well. So that's quite like central London. That's good. That is a really good way to live in central London. If I was going to live in central London, that's the only way I could do it, living on the water. I just feel like it would feel a bit more peaceful. and obviously just the difference in expense. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine buying a place around there? How much that would be compared to just being able to have your. I mean, that said though, hard to get hold of like any kind of what's it called? It's the licensing for mooring license or whatever for them sort of areas, and you can have a travel one where you have to keep moving, but if you get like a proper mooring, that can be tricky. So I'm told. Was one of the things I was looking into when I was making the decision between the two lifestyles. I was like, oh, that seems like a big headache trying to get a proper decent mooring, and it's going to cost a lot of money. Well, it doesn't cost anything to park on the side of the road, and like as I say, I'm on my parents' driveway at the moment. Spark says, weird question. How do your parents feel about having the van outside? That is an interesting question, Spark, and a very good one. They do get a little bit weird if people say stuff. So I think like one of the neighbours doesn't necessarily appreciate me being parked here, but they're also where they can't really say much about it. But overall, I don't really get a lot of flack. Few sort of issues here and there, like if like family members turn up and want to use the driveway as well. So I try to not be here when other people are going to need to use the driveway. I'm only here tonight just because I'm picking the boys up tomorrow, and I had a parcel getting delivered today. That the pump came from Amazon, and I just had it delivered here. Quite often I have it delivered to a locker, but I knew that I was coming to get the boys tomorrow, so I was like, well, I might as well come here. And then if I'm here on the driveway, I know that the shop down the road sells loads of like lovely like microwave meals that some local company does, like Indian cuisine that I just absolutely love. And I'm like, I'll get down there in the morning. They're gonna have the beautiful like bread rolls that I like for lunch, and I'll probably get a few of those to put in the freezer, well, not the freezer, sorry, the fridge, to keep for the week, so I can have some nice lunches and stuff. Be like really lovely. So they're okay with it from time to time. They were weird about us doing it when it was the whole family here. They kind of wanted the boys to come inside, and I think it was just a bit of an excuse to get more time with the boys, to be honest. But yeah, they're sort of cool with it. They're okay, but they're not like 100%, I would say. I think if I wanted to park here like all the time, they wouldn't be happy with it. But they've got their motorhome here as well now, so they have that on the driveway as well, just on a different section of it. That's there pretty much full time unless they're using it. Yeah, I think it's one of those things, because obviously there's rules about it as well. Like the letter of the law is, I think, like 28 days or something in a year that I can park here and there's no issues. But if you do it more than that, because there's this thing about like people think you can just get a van, buy a piece of land, park it on it, and just live in it. It's like, nah, it doesn't work. You've got to move that vehicle, and you can't have it parked on that land like without significant, like if you've got a massive parcel of land, you could probably move it around if you kind of separate your land into different parcels and then move it around. But that's a bit of a grey area. But mostly what they say is you can use your land for any use up to 28 days. So like if you want to have like throw a wedding party on it, or use it for like camping out in your garden from time to time. And not obviously, unless you've got some nosy neighbour who's counting the days and is documenting it, it's not really an issue if you go over by a few. But I think if I was here like half the year, there'd probably be an issue. But for the few days in a year that I actually do bother to stay here, it's not really an issue. Oh, we've got a modded thing. I will respond to the message that was modded, but I will not put it out for the community. Sorry, Springfield P. Well, even your name is a bit weird. But, yeah, I think I remember you've been in there before, Springfield. So yeah, I like that. Yeah, I don't pick up any hitchhikers. I would to give them a lift. I've done that in a car in the past. If I've seen somebody walking along, it's miserable weather, and I've got a safe opportunity to pull over and let them sort of get in. I sort of asked, do you want a lift? And I've done that before. And I would do that in the van. If I was driving down the road and I saw somebody, like man, woman, whatever, I'd offer a lift if I could. But you have to have a safe place to pull over. That's one of the trickiest things about seeing people just randomly walking. If someone's actually hitchhiking, which is rare in this country, again, they'd probably going somewhere long distance, so I probably couldn't help them. But if I could, I'd probably give someone a ride. But in terms of what you're implying for company, I wouldn't do that at all. That's not my bag. Now I don't do random hookups even from dating apps. I'm more of a kind of like need a connection before I'm having the company of a good woman, so to speak. Um, Nix is back in. Hi, Nix. Or now, because it was Taff, but now it's Nix. That's right. Yeah. Holy, I'm so late. But good to have you in. Do you know, it's almost going to roll off my tongue to say Taff, but Nix. There we go. Sparker saying that's weird, but it's okay to have a caravan on the road most of the year. Yeah, so I can literally like you can park a caravan. Like my parents are allowed to park their motorhome on the driveway, but the second they start living, someone lives in it. Now you're into a change of use of the land, and like they obviously don't want people to just realize like, oh, we could just buy a piece of land, and rather than getting planning permission to build a house, we could just park a vehicle on it, job done. It's like they need to try to avoid that. Now obviously with anything to do with councils in this country, you're not getting a problem unless somebody complains, because the council aren't putting any manpower or money into anything that isn't, or like something somebody has asked them to deal with. They're not going to just go, oh, we're going to invent problems to spend our money on. No, that's not how that works. So you'll get away with it. And there, for instance, a friend of mine, on the end of his road, there was a house where the people who owned the house were living in a different country for like the last, I don't know, 10 years. And for most of that, a chap was looking after the house for them. And he was allowed to stay in the house, but he chose to live in his caravan in the garden because he obviously wanted his own stuff. And I totally get that. And he just hooked up to the power and the water, jobs to good him. And he was there for years before anyone bothered to complain. And I think eventually someone did, and then action started to get taken by the council. But until somebody complains, you're sort of solid. But you're right. It's weird. You can park the thing on there as long as you're not living in it for as long as you like. As soon as you live in it, it's an issue. There are issues if you're parking on a street. So if I park on a road and decided to stay there for like months on end, that's something called an unauthorised encampment. And I know this because the chap who deals with that used to deal with that in the local council, like I was on good terms with him. We had each other's numbers, and he would sort of get in touch if there's any issues ever. And essentially, he said, yeah, you know, it's one of these things. They have the power to move you on if you've been in a location for too long, which is what they do with the travellers. But we don't ever stay long enough to be an issue for them. So like sometimes they'd come out and they'd go, or like, you know, how long are you planning to be here? And I'd be like, well, a couple of days, and we'd be moving on. And they're like, oh, right, okay. And then there's nothing for them to do, because by the time that they would mobilise anything to get us to move, we're already gone. So it's more that while there were some bylaws against us being parked on the road to sleep in a vehicle, sometimes they don't allow them a huge amount of powers, and it takes them a long time to kind of get around to them. So then we just get left alone. And the big part of that is that we respect the areas that we park in. So I'm very careful that I don't leave any litter. I don't cause any problems. I always considerate about where I park. I'm not blocking up driveways. I get away with parking by some houses for like one night or two when I'm working in an area and I'm just parking up near where I'm working. But again, no rubbish, no litter. And if I'm parking in a place where I kind of park quite often, like my home spot in Biggleswade, I will actually clean up rubbish. Like I cleaned up some today. Some idiots had left a load of McDonald's like stuff just laying around, and it was starting to blow around. So I picked it all up, put it in the bin nearby. And yeah, I think if we respect the space, the people there will also respect us, and it's good. I'll just go with Nick's because it's what your that's what your handle says. It just takes me a minute to remember. Let's go. So I was asking about, well, no. So this is, I'm parked on my parents' drive right now, but normally I'm just roadside somewhere, literally just street parking, just wherever I can find it. Sometimes I'll go to a National Trust car park. It's in the middle of nowhere. They don't have height restrictors, and there aren't any clear signs saying no overnight camping. And I feel like, okay, this is a spot where I'm not going to cause any trouble. I've been known to park in the odd one which says no overnight camping if I'm turning up really late and no one's going to realistically be patrolling and in the middle of nowhere car park at like 11 o'clock in the evening. And if someone came by in the morning and was like knocking on the door, like, you can't be here overnight, but I just turned up this morning, just like we're heading off late on today. We're just out here for some walks and that. I don't think I'm going to give us grief. I think if you were there for like a few days, someone's going to notice you. You're going to get trouble. So again, it's that falling through the cracks of, like, you know, if you're not causing a problem and it's not obvious that you're going to be there for like a long time, the van life stuff over here, you get through a lot of cracks, because there are definitely some bylaws for local councils about sleeping in vehicles, but overall they don't put any hardline laws against it, because obviously you've got lorry drivers need to sleep in their vehicles, and without that and a few other sort of, if you're doing like a long trip and you don't have anywhere to stay and you're getting tired behind the wheel, the ridiculousness it would be to make a law that you can't stop at the side of the road and have a little nap because you're tired, and instead you should be continuing to drive while you're tired. I mean, that just wouldn't fly, would it? I mean, that would be the most nuts law in the world. So they can't make laws hard and fast against it, but they do have bylaws about being able to move on like an unauthorized encampment and things like that. Are you lagging? Are you, Nix? I guess that. Well, is Myanmar sort of? How's the internet over there as a whole? Is it a little bit? What would be the words that I'd use to describe, like, intermittent? Is it, or is it okay? And it's just you're just having a bit of trouble yourself. Let's go outside. Saying, what about when the 15 minute min cities come in? Will they ban all van life? Leave the UK if you can. So, what are you talking about when the 15 min cities come in? What's that? You have to explain that one, but I'm interested. Scott, hi Scott. I heard England's rules are getting tougher. Bar stewards, yeah. Good man cleaning up though. Yeah, you've got to have respect for where you're living. I mean, you don't poop where you eat, so to speak. I want to be able to use a place a long time, so I respect it. I had this issue actually, like the mentality, it's like a teenager mentality. I used to run an after-school football sort of game at a local park in Henlow where I lived. And, oh, I've got the door open still. That's probably raging in there. Yeah, it's like going for it, isn't it? I can literally, yeah, that is scorching now. That's nice though. It's getting quite warm here, it's comfortable. So what was I saying? Yeah, so I was running this after-school football club, and we used the public parks football pitch, and they had like nice goals with proper goal posts and stuff in that. And the kids would be climbing on these posts all the time, and I had to tell them to get down. I had to say to them, look, we want to use these goals, right? And they're like, yeah. And I said, well, if you're swinging on these and you eventually break it, how long do you think it'll be before the council bothers to pay for new ones? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, it'd be a long time, because they're not going to want to replace something that someone's just damaged. So we're going to be playing without goals until they fix it. So if you want to continue playing on this football pitch and have decent goals, don't break the goals. Treat them with respect. And they're like, oh, okay. And they eventually all got it, and they all realised, like, don't be swinging on the goals when Molly's there, because he's just going to have a right moan at us. And I'd see them going back to it, like, at other times and other days, because I literally lived right by the park. But they understood, the principle at least. But I take this principle, you've got to live by that, realistically. Don't poop where you eat, and respect the things you want to continue to enjoy. Like if you're going out in the countryside, whether it's camping or just hiking, don't leave your litter about, because if you're doing that, you're going to want to enjoy that another time. And if you do it, someone else is going to think, well, if someone else has done it, I can do it. And people will jump on that bandwagon, and before you know it, place is trashed. So you've got to, that's where the leave no trace comes in. Like, leave it how you found it. That's where that comes in big time. But I don't think it's just a camping thing that we should be living by with them rules. That's like a life thing. We should be leaving the world as we found it, if not better. So it's not just the camping, it's the whole world. We should be, like, all the stuff we do with plastics and like burning the fossil fuels and we've got to sort this stuff out, because we are definitely not leaving the world how we found it. We are making it worse all the time. But yeah, I digress. 15-minute cities. Well, I think if your tinfoil hat is stylish enough, the 15-minute council don't mind. So what's this 15-minute thing? So 15-minute cities, Google WEF, World Economic Forum, people won't be allowed to leave their home as by 2035. Everything they need will be within 15 minutes of where they live. You should read up. Oh, that's an interesting idea. A bit like a Big Brother society, but instead of you like being watched all the time, you're basically just limited to 15 minutes. That's mad. But I guess is that like a bit like I have seen this thing about the line in somewhere in Africa. They've like or they're the city that's just a big line through the desert, and I guess that they're building that with the same sort of idea in mind. They want people like every sort of, I suppose, in your mind, 15-minute sections where everything you need is in that sort of like district, I guess, and you don't have to necessarily travel outside of it. Um, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some weird stuff going to be happening over the next couple of decades, isn't there? With all the things that are shifting in the world. I mean, it's things are going to get nuts. Life now is not anything like what it's going to be in like 15, 20 years time. It's anyone's guess what life is going to be like with all the changes that are happening. Khaled's in. Hi, Khaled. Hello, Silver Fox, he says. Wee-hee. Good to see you again. Just stopping to wish everyone a great day. Hope yours is good too. Mine's been a good day. Yeah, so we're on to we've gone through all the rules, I think. Let's have a look. How long have we been streaming for? 55 minutes. That's got to be long enough for today. It's definitely a low effort one today. Tomorrow, I'm thinking about potentially doing a board game with the boys and maybe getting someone on the stream to join in. I realise, well, I want to do a couple of things. I want to, like this week, I want to try if I can, in between doing this work that I need to do, I want to see if I can't get out with the boys to some charity shops, pick up I think their mum said that she'd let me have their Connect 4 here, so I might not need to get that, but I do want to get an Uno. Louise had said she'd give me hers, but then broke up with me before I saw her again, so I didn't get her old Uno deck. But I want to get Uno because that's obviously a popular game and we can do that on stream. But I was thinking maybe tomorrow we do this, or maybe another day. It depends on the boys a bit and how they're feeling. But I'm thinking we can actually play Monopoly with you and get somebody from the stream or to basically join in, because it's a face up game. It's what I call face up. So you don't have anything hidden like cards or anything. So we all see what everyone's got, and all you need to do is make decisions, and we can roll the dice for you. So somebody could join in the game, I thought. So if anyone's interested, make sure you're here tomorrow from the start of the stream, and we'll get somebody in on the game. Oh, we've got a Mark and a Michelle in. Hi, welcome to the stream. Let's Go Outside says this isn't the world I was born into. How old are you? Let's Go Outside. That's, if you don't mind saying on the stream. Yeah, I've got to admit, this is not the world I was born into either, and I'm not even super old. But you know, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have mobile phones, and the world has changed so much since then. I mean, we didn't have YouTube, obviously, and anything like this. So the world was a lot what I call it's weird. It depends on your perspective, because essentially the world seems smaller because my world was smaller. But people say how the world is shrinking because we're able to travel further all the time and travel easier. So that shrinks the world and makes it more. But I think it's a weird thing. You can look at it both ways. So the world was small because you didn't get to go everywhere, and like it opens it up. So it's depending on your perspective on it. But we just didn't have the things that back then that we have now, and the access to sort of knowledge and places. It's crazy. YTP is in. Hi YTP. End of the weekend, back to dreaded work, but I'm happy to see the last of it. Watching you, not nice. I appreciate you being here, YTP. I have tomorrow as a bit of a weekend day as well. It was supposed to be spent with Louise, but that got completely kiboshed, as we know, and so I'm going to have that tomorrow. Just basically, well, the boys will come back in the afternoon, and then, like I say, we'll do a stream bit later on and hopefully do a game together. But before they turn up, I'm going to have the day to actually get some proper editing done. I was supposed to do loads today, and I did not, because I was messing around with the stove and the water systems and just procrastinating about the edit. But I will get some of it done this evening before I go to bed, and then I'll finish up. Well, I won't finish it up, but I'll do a big chunk of it tomorrow, hopefully. And I'm hoping to have it finished by Tuesday, which I think is going to be a bit of a wet day. And that will leave the back end of the week for me to do all the work that I need to do. Spiker said, we didn't have a colour TV till I was in senior school. Yeah, I think we didn't have a colour TV until I was little, but we did then get one. But I do have vague memories of a black and white TV in the house. Yeah. Um, yeah, then there was a point where we were allowed TVs up in our rooms, but one of them was like a black and white one. I remember that, and then because they were like they did both at a point, and the black and white ones were just cheaper. Um, I'm hoping to have a positive week. I hope you do also, and I extend that to all in chat. Nice one. That's good. That's good vibes. That is YTP, and I second that. I hope everyone has a great week this week. Oh, Michelle saying I'm 48, and this world is so different. It has its good and bad points. That's right, Michelle. There were definitely good things. Like just the amount of access to knowledge that I have is incredible, and I love that. But with that obviously comes all of the downsides. So the whole sort of social media thing, and I'm aware of the hypocrisy because this is technically social media with YouTube, but it's a weird case with YouTube. This doesn't feel to me like social media where like you're just having to post your life for people to look like it, like these posts and these images and stuff. Basically you're trying to put a photo album out of your entire life, which everyone's trying to make it look better than it is, and it's just the pressure from all that is just crazy. And obviously the world is changing so fast that parents and governments and anyone else, they're not keeping up with it, and so kids are getting exposed to things they shouldn't be. I mean, Henry and his like this whole I don't know how many people in here know about my boys, but the boys got in trouble a little while ago because they were both sneaking their like Henry was sneaking his phone and Ethan was sneaking his Switch into their bedroom at their mum's house, and like using them in the evening when they weren't supposed to be, when they were supposed to be going to sleep instead. Oh, I got into some trouble for that. And Henry pulled out the real proper gag of knowing that his mum would check for his phone. So he took his phone but left his phone case. So it looked like his phone was there. I mean, what a gem. But at the same time, totally got themselves in some big trouble for that. And yeah, you just have to be careful. The access that the kids have is incredible. So yeah, everything's a double-edged sword. I agree, Michelle. Does anyone remember Rent a Ghost and Will o' the Wisp? I don't remember that. Well, I've heard of Will o' the Wisp, but my brain is being slow on what that is. Cigar is in. Hi, Cigar. Yeah, it's a calm one today, Cigar. It's just me and the YouTube family. We're all just having a chit chat, and I started off talking about my stove, to be fair, but it's turned into some random chit chat. We talked about all sorts of stuff, but I will say it's been quite geared towards van life, which I've enjoyed. I do enjoy talking about the van life and sort of life philosophy in general. This country is definitely pushing so many people to it. It's just crazy because they obviously don't want people to do it, but yet everything they're doing is just like pushing people more and more into, well, why are we going to be like jumping through these hoops for the government? I mean, the amount of jobs that are going to disappear soon is just, it's horrendous to think about. If you already look at the situation we're in, how many people are not liking like where they are, it's just crazy. Let's have a little look. Oh, we got a modded comment here. Oh, Sparker got modded. That's weird. We can show that one. If your mum was hovering, forget about watching Tiswas. I don't know what Tiswas is. You're clearly a bit older than me, Sparker. I can't remember how old you said you were now. You did say it in the email. I've mentioned this. How my brain does this thing, assuming everyone's the same age as me, and so I slowly forget details about like people, like exactly what ages they are and stuff. My brain is terrible for that. It really is. YTP saying from Argos, I think the Ariel was from, I was so excited when Channel 5 was launched. Now we have hundreds of channels. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Because at that point, I think America had like hundreds of channels already. And then we got Channel 5. But then, yeah, like we ended up getting like satellite TV over here. And then you had like Virgin, like basically getting in on it. And then they did the Freeview thing. I don't even watch like I got a free. We had a Freeview box in the old house. We were on Virgin for we were on Sky for a while. So not Virgin. We were on Sky for a while, and then eventually got rid of that because it just got too expensive. They kept upping the price, and we went to a Freeview box, and that was pretty decent because you didn't have to pay for it once you had the box. We put it in the van when we first moved in. We didn't use it, so I got rid of it for a while. But then we wanted to watch some stuff together, like BGT and stuff. So I put it back in, and we were watching these things for a bit. But then eventually we stopped using it again. And so, and then we started, like, whenever we watched things like that, after that point, we were always watching it on demand anyway, which we could do on our Roku, because we have like a little Roku device on, like, attached to this TV. And I was like, there's no point in this box. So I've literally got rid of the aerial and the box, and I just stick to watching things either on my Roku, which is mostly Prime. I watch Prime Video, or I watch things on my phone. So like, I just like have an app that I can stream and watch things on. It's a bit naughty, but I mean, if they had a decent thing that had all the shows and everything on and all the movies, I'd pay for it. But they don't. You have to have about a dozen different apps, don't you, if not more. So I use Prime a lot, but that's about it. That's about all I watch on this thing up here. Mostly I put YouTube on and put some music on, a little bit of Laney or something. Michelle saying Channel 5, yes, that was brilliant. Gone from 4 to 5. Yeah, I mean, that was huge stuff, but so many people couldn't get it. I could get it in my room by, like, I'd take my TV's aerial, it's like basically a bit of wire, and I would wrap it around. I had like this like metal magnetic kind of red, I don't even know what animal it was, but it was some kind of animal. It was just a magnetic board you were supposed to put like post-it notes and stuff on. And I remember if I wrapped it around it in a certain way, I could get Channel 5. And like even the main TV downstairs couldn't get Channel 5, so I was the only one in the house with Channel 5. It was so cool. It was choice to have it. That was so good. But even then, even though I was watching it like that, it was still pretty fuzzy. And it's such a bad rollout. You wouldn't get away with that these days. Could you imagine someone rolling out a channel and it just not working, like, for everybody, and being a bit fuzzy? People these days would just be like livid, pure livid. Michelle's saying, I remember watching Darling Buds of May on a Sunday along with Last of the Summer Wine. Then it was bedtime. Obviously, you had to have your Sunday bath and PJs on. Yeah, do you know, that's the one thing that I kind of miss from just having the 4 or 5 channels and having like everything scheduled. So you didn't, nothing was on demand. You had to make time to watch it. So like if I wanted to watch the next Star Trek episode, or if I wanted to watch the next Quantum Leap or whatever I was watching, like, and it would be a family event often. It's like my dad loved Quantum Leap and I'd watch that with him. And like, and if my mum was wanting to watch the snooker, we were all watching the snooker. And it's that sort of thing where it became like a family event and the family would sit around together and do that thing. Whereas nobody's doing that. Well, some do. I've known some people who, like, there was like a woman I was dating a while back who, her family did this thing where they would do family movie night, and her sister lived in, I think, Dubai it was, and her mum was like I don't know, a couple of villages over, whatever, and they would just like watch it at the same time, and then sort of like I don't know if they were like, sometimes they'd be on a voice call, sometimes they'd just like message each other through it, and I thought, well, it's sort of like that, but it's not quite the same as everyone sitting in the same room together, and like, you know, I'd be snuggled up on my mum's lap or something when I was young enough, and just watching stuff together, like whether it's a movie, but that kind of weekly show, and having to make time to watch the weekly show, because there were no like reruns. There were no like there was no like kind of, oh, you can on demand this whenever you like, or like either +1 channels and all that. There was none of that. So it was like, you're watching it now, or you've lost your chance. Yeah, it's a different time, but it had its, and although you could say this is better, that restriction, that like arbitrary restriction, if you like, made it so much more. It's a bit like the straight line missions, or like my wonky line missions that I do, but the straight line missions that GeoWizard did that I was inspired by. It's just putting an arbitrary restriction in, or like Bo Miles when he does his, like he did his like commute to work, where he walked to work instead of driving, and he puts arbitrary rules on himself where he can't take anything, he has to only use what he finds on the way and stuff. You make an adventure out of something that wasn't normally an adventure by restricting yourself. The boys' rooms in the van here are small, they're tiny, there's cabin bedrooms basically, compared to the old bedroom at the house. this is less, but somehow it's more because the restrictions make it feel like it's a little den and it's an exciting thing, and it made it feel more like it was theirs rather than a big room that we let them have. It's like that's their rooms, and it's like I think sometimes being restricted actually makes you appreciate more what you have and make it more of a thing. And yeah, I think that was the thing with the TV when you had to watch it at that set time, it was a real thing. I've missed loads of chat. I do apologise. I've been gabbing on. I suppose it was a proper family event. I must admit, I love them times. Yeah, I think looking back, some of the best times were that just family events around the TV. Fantastic. That's right. When there was the one TV sparker, and that's something else. Like that transition from there only being one in the house to suddenly we allowed them in our bedrooms. But I remember my parents had like some fairly rules about that at first. Like you couldn't just go off and watch like what you wanted when you wanted. But eventually that got lax, and then I'd get like I think I had like a Sega Master System that I attached to the TV. I'd be up there playing my games, but then me and my brother would be up playing together sometimes, but you still came back as a family to watch the same things because we were all into the same shows at that point. And you'd have the odd show that you'd be interested in only, but yeah, but then eventually that did die out, and it was such a shame to lose that. And I try to do it with the boys though, so we'll sit down together and watch movies together on the TV here, because that's the other thing. Without really realizing it, in the van, I went back to that and had just the one main TV. They don't have TVs in the room. They have their phones, but they're generally speaking not allowed to have their phones in their like rooms unless I've said yes, okay. And they're not able to really watch a lot of stuff on there. They can watch YouTube and stuff, which they probably would do, or they play Minecraft or something. But they generally don't go up to their rooms that often for alone time. They'll often just be in the communal area, and the van life does kind of shove us together. And that was something I always liked about the van life, is that we were put together and it became more of a family unit again, and that was good. That was a really lovely thing. Oh yeah, a bit of Street Fighter. Yeah, that was a good game. That was a good game, Michelle. Even our house phone had a lock on it, said Sparker. Jeez. I had a friend in school, his house didn't even have a phone. They didn't have a TV, they didn't have a phone. And if you want to call him, you had to call his nan 3 doors down, and she'd give him a message for you when she saw him next and stuff like that, and then he might call you back from her phone. That was like, it was ridiculous getting hold of this guy. We've got True to Golden Years, yeah, Sparker. I'm just going backwards a little bit. Spot on, Sparker, good old times. Yeah, this is some proper reminiscing it. Oh, you had a phone lock too, Michelle? Jeez, no, we never had ours locked. That's that. I remember though them phones. I don't know what we call them, but the dial phones, the actual proper. It was on a dial. I used to love that. Those phones are great, and there was a number you could dial to get them to tell you what the time was, and I can't remember what that was. And I always remember thinking that I understood the principle that the 9 would be the furthest one around, and you had to do 999 3 times so that it would be less likely to accidentally dial it. But I'm like, but that's incredibly crazy if you think about it, because that was the longest thing to dial, because it was like, and then you have to watch it go back, and then slow. But that kind of tells you how slow the pace of life was, that they were like, no, it's more important that we don't get like unintentional calls than it is that the extra 10 seconds to dial this number will take. Because it could have been 111, or even like 112 would have made sense back then, and maybe they had it, but 999 was just mental on those phones. Michelle's, yes, my brother used to pick the phone lock when my mum and dad was at work. Ah, nice. That's a bit like Henry and Ethan's whole like sneaking their phones up to their room and that. Boys will be boys. But when the bill came, all hell. But yeah, that's the thing about the boys, isn't it? They're clever, but they're not quite clever enough. So they'll do something daft, think they've got away with it, and then get caught out. It's classic. Hey, Dan Gaze. Hi, Dan. How you doing? Always jump on to support and say, oh, thanks, Dan. I appreciate your support here, mate. I really do. And I know you're a busy guy, so your time is valuable, so it is appreciated. Dear. I've been liking your shorts that you've been posting. Like you are very sporadic with your posts though. You'll be on sometimes and other times you won't. And but they do come up thankfully in my feed when you do. Well, it seems like I might be completely wrong and maybe my feed just doesn't give me all of your posts. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I guess the YouTube thing isn't something you're super focused on. I guess that's a bit of a byproduct for what you do. You probably spend far more time actually helping some kids out rather than messing around on a channel like I do. Oh, I do miss the days when I was doing the after school football with the lads. It got a bit rubbish at the end because the kids all got a bit older, and then once they got to the age where they were like quite old teens, there was way more friction, and there was some like school bullying going on that would spill over, and I'd have to like deal with the lads, and it kind of spoiled it a little bit. And then some of them just started acting out, and yeah, we had to shut it down in the end. It didn't really. It was like basically it was weird because we were doing it before COVID, and that kind of killed things off. But then when we came back, it was stronger than ever. But then it was just these kids getting old that just kind of destroyed it. And there was like I can't remember what happened, but it was like a bit of a something happened. I think it was just like a some holiday happened, and when we came back, yeah, I just kind of didn't have the heart for it anymore, and yeah, just kind of. Did anyone play Kirby? Yes, or Kirby was a big thing, wasn't it? What are you going to call your new channel? I post more on TikTok. Ah, you're a TikTok man, are you, Dan? No, I don't do TikTok at all. I have like done a little bit and put some of my shorts onto TikTok to see if I could drum up a bit of traffic to YouTube, but it's one of those things I couldn't really give it enough time to make it work, so I just stopped. But yeah, TikTok's a whole different thing, isn't it? I'm not sure what I'm going to call the channel yet. I definitely feel like a change of name is needed. I'm not there yet at figuring that one out. I've looked at some of the potentials for like the Moley on a Move and stuff and that, and yeah, and I've talked to Noah about it. He says Moley would be fine to have as part of the channel name. I say that some people wouldn't know how to spell it. Like a lot of people end up like writing Molly and things like that, and like I'm like, yeah, I don't know if everyone really knows like how many L's has it got an E. It's like I want something that's less ambiguous and that you just know that that's how you would spell it. And it's something I'm going to percolate on over probably weeks, and I might it's the sort of thing I might do if something comes up really easy soon and I'm like really sold on something. I might get to it quicker, but I'm probably looking for maybe like a January 1st kind of like, let's reboot this whole thing. But I might do it sooner if something sort of pops in and I feel like I've got the time to make all the efforts to sort of change it all over. Sparker said, we moved from Newcastle on Tyne to Somerset and I phoned my friend and got caught. Oh, what was your punishment, Sparker? That I bet that didn't go down smoothly. Ooh, yeah, I concur, Michelle. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes for that one. The slipper was the enforcement tool in our house. Yeah, the slipper was the enforcement tool in mine as well. My dad used the slipper a lot. And the odd time I think a belt was pulled out, but I don't think I ever got that. I think that was more like I think my brother might have had that once or twice. But yeah, it was mostly the slipper. Trousers down, smack, smack, that sort of thing. We got the slipper and wooden spatula. Oh, the wooden spatula. Oh, you've got to be bad to get that. Yeah, that sounds harsh. I don't think anyone ever pulled out a wooden spatula on me. Oh dear. But it was that dread. My mum used to do this thing. If we were bad and my dad wasn't home yet from work, we'd be made to stand. Like in the dining room, we had like a checkered floor, and we'd be standing on one of the squares, and you weren't allowed to leave the square, and you'd have to stand there and just think about what you've done. And sometimes, Mum would let you move off the spot if she calmed down enough from whatever you'd done, and let you off, and then you'd be like, if that happens before Dad gets back, you're all right. But if you're still on that spot when Dad gets back, the slipper will be out, and you will get the punishment. And that was just the way it was done back then. Your dad was the enforcer, but you didn't cross Mum because you knew that like if you went far enough, you'd be in trouble, and you get worse punishment from Dad if mum was the one telling him to do it. Like if dad was annoyed with you, he'd punish you a bit, but if he was told to do it by mum, he'd been so cross about it, or you'd get like proper like double of it. It'd be oh yes, the wooden spoon was my nan's weapon of choice, says Sparker. Yeah. Michelle's brought up two brothers. We brought up old school. Yeah, we were two boys and one girl. You're the youngest, are you, Michelle? I'm the youngest too. I'm the youngest of three, so I've got an older sister and the brother's the oldest. Sounds so brutal, but they loved us, and you knew you were getting punished for a reason. Yeah, I think that's the thing. You knew that you deserved like to get a consequence. I call it a consequence now, not a punishment. That's what my boys get. They get a consequence. I used to do a thing when I was younger called a punish, and I'd say to them, I'll give you the punish, and it'd be like a little tap on the back of the hand. Not enough to do anything, like wouldn't even make it red most of the time. It was just like a thing, like a mental kind of like you've done wrong. Like a bit like a tap on a dog's nose, just to let it know that's what's bad and you're not supposed to. You just no. And that worked quite effectively. You didn't have to go anywhere near a slipper. Like never once have I pulled out a slipper for the boys. I have had to put the hand on them a couple of times, a bit of a hiding, but again, nothing like what I got when I was younger. Like it was different rules back. It was Wild West back then, kind of thing. It's crazy. Noah's in. Hi Noah. Youngest of 8, says Sparker. Holy moly. Youngest of 8. Your parents loved each other then. If you know what I mean. Well, that's what we're here for, Michelle. Sparker can tell us all his stories in the chat here for sure. That's kind of like why it's nice having. I assume you're subbed already, Michelle, because I don't know if have you been in before. I seem to recall there being a Michelle before, but some people are way more recognisable as they come in, and then other people, my brain just doesn't for some reason remember everybody. But yeah, it's a quite a good sort of YouTube family we're building here. It's nice to get people in and telling their stories and having chats like this. This is kind of what it's all about. I'm loving this evening actually. It's been nice just chatting with everybody. Sometimes it gets a bit random in here. Oh, that's good. That's good. Nice one, Michelle. So whereabouts are you from, Michelle? Have I asked that? Yeah, I don't think I have. If you don't mind saying, just if you don't want to say, you don't have to. But there's never a pressure to anyone to actually respond to my questions. But I'm always going. Barry Lancaster. I'm Roy Lancaster. I'm terrible. I am terrible with counties. I'm trying to think where Lancaster is. Well, yeah, so Lancaster would be the town, wouldn't it? Now my brain's blanking on that. I can't think. Hold on. I'm going to quickly do. Can I get the map up? Yeah, I can. I feel like I should know where it is, but my mind is blanking this evening. Lancaster. Or you said Bury Lancaster, so is or Bury. Lancashire. That's not shy. Bury. Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, just north of Manchester then. Oh, I see. Well, that is quite far north. Been past there though on my way to the Lake District a couple of times. Yeah. I guess it's probably super cold up there then. Way colder than it is down here. Catherine's saying, okay, you are in. Is Catherine talking to me? Hi, Catherine. No, I'm in the UK. If you're talking to me, I'm about 40 minutes north of London. Yeah, beautiful places up there, Michelle. You've got some very like backdoor kind of like just epic scenery, really. The amount of times I've been up the Peak District and been able to see across to Manchester and stuff is pretty cool. And I figure like you ain't that far from the Pennines and from the Lake District. And I think even I think you're a lot closer to the coast than I am. A different coast, of course, but like it just takes so long to get to any coast from here. The closest we've got is it's like about 2 to 2.5 hour drive to get over to. I mean, it can be a bit quicker if I go at night time, but if I go over to the east coast, around sort of Felixstowe, Harwich kind of way, excuse me, yeah, around that sort of area, that's the closest I've got. But the beaches aren't great there. Um, they're okay, but it's not great. The really beautiful stuff on the south coast or over at Wales, I mean, that just takes me hours to get to. Am I a surgeon? No. Don't trust me with a scalpel in my hand. Jeez. Um, what we got here? Sparker saying Lancashire people are generally lovely. Well, we can tell that from Michelle, can't we? She's obviously a lovely person, just like you, Sparker. I think generally my general rule in this is like, it seems to me like people up north are really nice, like, and friendly. Like for the general rule, are just any people I've met from up north seem really lovely. Even Helen's family, when I met them, they were all from like sort of Manchester area, and they were so welcoming. They were like, compared to my family, I was like, these people are amazing. What on earth? And I found myself being very jealous I wasn't born into a family like that. I was like, this is incredible. All these people are like really amazing people. What's going on? And then yeah, anyone I've spoken to from up north, sort of away from here, is I've just really liked them people. But my mum's best friend from when I was younger was from Scotland, and she was one of my favourite people I was growing up. It was more important to me that she be at my wedding than it was my own aunties and uncles, to be fair. Michelle says, yes, beautiful places. I can walk along the canal from my house in Bury to get to my mum's in Radcliffe. Nice. A surgeon asked. I don't know what's so confusing, Catherine. I'll give you a little quick synopsis. Obviously, you knew I'm a van lifer. I live in England, UK, and we're all here just having a old chin wag with each other and having a bit of a natter. I'm guessing you might have come off from the vertical live feed. I tell you now, I had a little peruse through that last night. I finally found my way into the vertical live stream sort of like feed, if you like, to have a look what's going on there, and it is nuts in there. The crazy stuff that happens, like all like some of it's calm like this, other bits are just mental. People doing the craziest stuff, and obviously the crazier it was, the bigger the audience. And I was like, that is just mental. Just what is going on. This the vertical live feed is just crazy. And I see now why we get some random people coming in just saying some right nonsense, because they're coming off of these channels where just nonsense is the golden rule. That's what all you're going in there for. Yeah, well, my parents just came back from John O'Groats. They did like half of the NC 500, Michelle. And I wouldn't mind doing that, but it's not something I'm rushing to do. It's the sort of thing I would do when the boys are older and I don't need to have them around so often, and maybe they're doing their own thing, because I don't want to be not seeing them for a couple of months. It would take to kind of do a big tour like that, and I can't take them with me because their mum wouldn't want them to be away that long either. So the logistics with that doesn't work right now. But once they're older and they're doing their own thing, I might do it on my own. I would love at that point to have a partner to do it with, so I could actually go around and have like the company of someone, so we could see the sites together. I think it's always nicer when I'm with somebody. Push come to shove though, if I haven't got a partner, I might just invite Tim and say, Tim, let's just do it together. Bros on tour, and let's just get it done. Oh, sorry, I've missed some. Kevin says my family is from the Isle of Mull. Is that Mull? Where? Yeah, where is that? I second Michelle's question. Noah's saying I'm confused. Where did surgeon come? This person just came and just asked. Now I don't know what was so confusing, but it's, yeah. Somebody called Love Is Forever is in the chat. Hi, your British people need to fix this pretentious accent. American Rodic accent is the true successor of authentic. I tell you, mine is far from a pretentious accent, I would say. Mine is a very common kind of sounding British accent, if for all things considered. It's not like really like bad. Like this, I think there's some like Brummie accents and some Cockney ones and that would be considered like more, I don't know what the term would be, like more common than mine or whatever, I don't know. But mine is like, yeah, I'm not like talking well spoken at all. Sparker saying, I'm with you, Michelle. I would like to go to Scotland. My dad was from Aberdeen. Michelle says, I'm born and bred Barry, but got an uncle from Scotland. Can't tell you which part of Scotland. Yeah, it's a big place, old Scotland. Love is Forever says, not great comments, it's facts. Tell British people used to had this accent around 300 years ago. Wow. I'm having trouble following your logic here, Love is Forever, just because I've got to reread that. The grammar is on point. Not great comments, it's fact. Tell British people used to have this accent around 300 years ago. Now, I think 300 years ago they spoke practically a different language, ye old English, and they had all different words back then. It was mental. You go watch a period drama and follow some of that stuff. It's mental how they used to talk. How very dare you, sir? Mr. Moley here is a lord. Yeah, lord of nonsense, maybe, Sparker, but yeah, I appreciate it. Hi again, Catherine. Yeah, thank you for the compliment. Yeah, Noah turned up, and then suddenly, like, we've got all the randoms from the feeds coming in, and Noah's like, oh, it's all random again. Oh, dear. Jim Smith says, rage, dying against the dying of the light. Isn't that a poem? There's a poem with that in there, isn't there? Oh, don't worry, Michelle, you haven't missed anything. We've got some newbies in who are giving us some random chat, which is fine. We like the newbies, and if you're new, hit that sub button and the like one as well while you're at it. Why not, eh? I wouldn't know anything about Shakespeare. I'll be honest. We learned about Shakespeare in school, but I didn't pay a huge amount of attention. Oh, we got a yes from Jim. So, oh, it is a poem then. Oh, there you go. Some of the schooling went in somewhere. We got Abdul in. Hi, Abdul. Nice to see you. Yeah, what were we talking about? We're talking about Scotland and places to go. Yeah, I think definitely Scotland's on the list to do. Just I'll wait until I have more time. Like my parents took 2 months to get basically around half of it to John O'Groats, and then they came back. So yeah, I feel like it's the sort of thing that I'd want to do it where it'd be a slow sort of journey round. Yeah, but it's not the sort of thing I think I'd want to do on my own. Like the cold evenings up in Scotland. Yeah, that's not a thing to do on my own. Catherine says, I'm trying to send a picture. I don't know how you do that on here. I don't think you can do pictures on the chat, can you? Yeah, but I guess we're gonna have to call this soon. I can feel my brain getting tired, and I need to maybe have a little snack and then get on with my editing. Michelle says, I want to go find the Loch Ness Monster. Yeah, my parents went to Loch Ness on their way around, and they found that all very, very humorous, and also enjoyed their time there. And they were like, oh yeah, we can see why you could have a Loch Ness Monster there, because the water's like basically black and you can't see anything down like a tiny bit of depth. I was like, that's interesting. So I do want to go and see that myself, actually. I don't know if I'll be looking for the monster though. I don't think I'll be hiring out any scuba gear anytime soon for going to Loch Ness. Catherine asked, what do I like to do? You like to cook? Yeah, I like to cook as well. We did a bit of cooking on stream on Friday. I had the lads around. I did a little bit of barbecuing at the back of the van, and yeah, a bit of salmon and chicken on the barbie. I did like a bit of like a Turkish like meal, but fused it with some ahi amarillo that you get from like South American dishes. It's like a yellow pepper paste basically, and it gives it like a really fruity kind of good sort of spicy kick. That was quite nice. But yeah, I enjoy a bit of cooking. I'm all about sort of getting out and having a little bit of a fire, and I like campsite sort of fire type thing, and yeah, all that sort of stuff really. I'm very normal kind of guy, really, actually. Just to give you way more than you probably were asking for me, so what do I like to do? I'm like I like sports. I'm really into like playing like racket sports and stuff. And I tried squash for the first time ever the other week, and I actually enjoyed that a lot. I think I was being a bit closed-minded about squash, to be honest now. And yeah, that's a good game. I could see myself getting into that. It's not as brutally violent as I thought it looked like. I think that it could be if you were against people who just were taking the mick with it. But if you're with a person who understands how to play it properly, I think it's all right. But yeah, I love a bit of hiking and getting out, looking at the views. But as I was saying before, it's something I like doing stuff with other people these days more than I do just doing it all solo. Yep, you pretty much come in as soon as the S got weird. Yep, that is true now. Love is Forever. Still going about British people. I'm just going to skip that entirely. We get the point. You don't like the British accent. That's fine. Sparker saying, "Come on, Noah, you bring them with you." Yeah, I think Noah's just basically over there, like trawling through the vertical live feed, telling everyone, "Come and follow me into this one." He brings them all with him. Michelle said, "I've got to go, everyone. I see you, Michelle. I hope your day tomorrow is great and the rest of your week if I don't see you. But hopefully I'll see you at some point. I hope you'll come back and join us again. It's been lovely talking to you." Abdul's saying, "Take us with you." Catherine saying, "I shoot pool. I'm very good at darts. Salmon is my favourite." Oh yes, bit of salmon on a Barbie. Can't beat it. Yeah, I used to play a lot of pool when I was at university. I got very, very good, but I'm so rusty now because I just don't play. What kind of pool though are you? Because if you're, I don't know where you're from, Catherine, but there's American like 9-ball pool, and then there's like the British 8-ball pool. My preference is for a British 8-ball pool with your yellows and your reds and your black. But yeah, and darts. I'm useless at darts, but I always have a crack when it's available. My parents have a dartboard in the games room. Actually, they've got like a pool. They've got a pool table in their games room. They've got a darts board, and they've even got bar billiards in there as well, which is surprisingly more fun than you think it would be, because it's a proper old traditional game. What on earth is going on now? Who are you talking to? Calm down, Noah. Don't get yourself all knotted up. Catherine saying, you and I would get along well. I call the right ball. What? So where are you from then, Catherine? Are you from England? Or are you from somewhere else like America? Love is forever. So you got offended because I stated the facts, sweetie. No, you're letting him wind you up. Just. I'm not going to mod him for you because you can't just ignore him. I mean, he's not spamming too much, so I'm going to allow him to stay in. But be careful, love is forever. If you get too spammy, I will have to give you a timeout. So, oh, you're just puzzled, are you now? You go ahead and you debate with him about the English accent. Then you'll be fine. Oh dear. Well, to be honest, it's been quite a good stream now. Until you turned up now, it's been still good because we've had Catherine and Michelle in having a chat, and yeah, I've got to know a bit more about Sparker here and there. Although I think some of it I already did know. I think I knew he was from Aberdeen already. Like, well, you no, is it Sparker? Are you from Aberdeen originally? Is that what it is, or is it just that you've got somebody up there? But I remember you mentioning it before for sure. Noah's always disappointed with us in the chat. We're just not highbrow enough for him. If we're not talking about like heady stuff like politics and AI, he just doesn't want to know about it. Oh, Catherine's responded. Born in the USA, but my family is from the Isle of Mull. It's Celtic. Oh, what like between? Is it between Ireland and England? Is that where you're from? So well, you say you were born in USA. So are you living there now, or are you somewhere else? Sparks says Newcastle upon Tyne. Oh, that was it. I'm a Geordie, but you would never guess. No, I wouldn't. I tell you, even if you had an accent and I met you, I still wouldn't know because I am terrible with accents and working out where people are from. I've met people right from other countries, right, like Germany or Australia or wherever, and they're talking English to me, and it doesn't even occur to me they're from somewhere else. and then someone in the conversation will go, "Oh, you're from so and so," and they'll be like, "Yeah, yeah," and I'll be like, "What? Holy Christ!" And I don't say anything because in my head I'm just like, "Well, I'm not going to make myself sound stupid, so I'm just going to accept what's been said." But until that point, I had no idea, no clue. You need to try to emphasize this even more now. I don't think we're quite getting it. Um, yes, but I'd move wherever my heart takes me. That's a fair point, Catherine. Yeah, I think not many people think like that, but that's um, that's definitely a sort of a life philosophy that I would subscribe to. Is that if there's a place where you feel like you want to be, yes, that's where you should be going. Or person you want to be with, I guess. It depends really, isn't it? Um, like I always think this is funny actually in like the movies, like they'll often have this thing where like, two people fall in love and they're like, you're the one for me, but then like one of them gets like a job somewhere else and they have to make the choice to go, and I'm like, well, hold on a second, like it's like basically surely that there's only like basically two choices. Do you go for the job and they come with you, or you stay with them? And it's just who's going to give up the which one's going to give up the job and move, or which one's going to move with the other one or stay. But they always end up with the split up, and I'm like, how is this always happening in a movie? Because surely there's enough people out there who would prioritize the relationship over work. But that's just me. I feel like relationship comes first. But but yeah, but yeah, I think it's one of those things. Like I look at it and I think I like where I live now, but there are so many cool places in the world, and I could live in a lot of places. Obviously, there's rules in place, so you can't just go and live anywhere you like. No matter what all the people getting on boats thinking they're going to jump into other countries do, wherever that is, or climbing walls, or whatever country, whatever border they're crossing, there shouldn't be. Obviously, there are rules, and you're going to get caught up, so you've got to follow rules. Oh, I've got a question here. Noah's just saying, I'm chilling at home, not thinking about how English was during the colonization of North America. Yeah, Noah's still trying very hard. Have you been drinking this evening, Noah? Catherine asked, "Do I like cats?" I don't mind cats, but I am mildly allergic, so I generally don't go near them too much. I have a mild allergy to cats and dogs. I'm all right with some dogs, and depending on the cat, they're not too bad. Like Noah has a couple of cats, and they're around me when I'm around his, and they're okay. As long as I don't stroke them and then touch my face, I'm okay. But I did sleep at his once, and I tell you, it's like having hay fever when I was sleeping in the spare bed. And yeah, there's enough cat sort of like essence around, I guess what you'd call it. That yeah, I just like I'd it's not as bad as it used to be though. I got to admit, my allergies as a whole are kind of like tamping down because I have a hay fever as well. But that kind of hasn't been that bad. So like this year, I probably had like 2 days where I took a hay fever tablet. So yeah, maybe my allergies are slowly going away. Yeah, Noah loves cats. Yeah, camping rules, says Abdul. Absolutely does. Um, Love is Forever said, "Do you like American people or British people more?" I just like a good person. I don't think it matters where they're from. Um, it's all an individual thing to me. I don't really think about like there's a lot of people who worry about someone's age or skin color, which would be really stupid, or where they're from, their culture, things like that. I'm like, I don't really care about any of that. I look at somebody as an individual, and they're either a nice person or they're not. And there's plenty of people I don't like out there. I've met plenty of people. I'm like, don't get on with this person, and I was never wondering about where they were from or like anything else about them. Just like their behaviour, basically, what they're up to. That'll tell me everything I need to know. Oh, we've got a modded thing. What on earth? I'm sorry, Catherine. I don't know why it modded that. I have twain. I don't know if that's a word. Twain coons, or it's the coons part. I guess that's stupid. Yeah, that's the slang term, isn't it? They are big. Two. Are you trying to say you have two and then something like? I'm not sure how to read that. I'm not that great at complicated words like these. So you got two big cats basically, or you got Yeah, I'm guessing that's what you're saying. You're saying there. So, like, how big are they? Like tiger big, or are they just quite sizable? Sparker saying laugh out loud. Do you wait? So Love is Forever. Are you from America? Because maybe I've missed a bit of chat here. Is 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 Love is Forever from America? That's what we need to know. Because Sparker's talking like he is or something. I didn't know that he was. I thought he sounded like he was from some other country and just liked the accent more from America. Weird. Well, I'm going to check on my stove. I don't know how that's doing. I've been on stream for far longer than I expected to be. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of heat coming from that, but I think I'm going to liven it up just for comfort, if nothing else. So this time, I'm going to shake it a bit and get the... You see that? Yeah. Get the straw open a bit. Let the air get through that and build that up a little bit, and then I'm going to put in some more. Yeah, I don't think you let me spin that around a little bit to give you a better view of what I'm doing. Yeah, so I don't think you were here when I was talking about this, Noah, but I've been experimenting today using charcoal in the stove rather than the woods. Part out of necessity, because I couldn't actually buy the wood when I went to Home Bargains the other day because they were out. And partly because it's something I've been meaning to try for a while, just because there isn't enough data online about the difference in efficiency of like how much heat is transferred from the fuel to the stove body, depending on whether you have like basically a bit of wood that's on fire with the flame, or whether you have something like the charcoal here that works with embers. Because I did notice that the embers, like you get this with coal when you're doing coal, it tends to radiate more heat rather than convecting it. And obviously if you're convecting the heat, a lot of that's just going to go up and out of the flue. Yeah, so a lot of the convected heat will just go up and out of the flue and get lost outside, whereas radiated heat is going to literally just warm the body up and it won't get taken up outside. So although cost per kilowatt hour in terms of the fuels, the wood is definitely has a higher, like what is a lower cost per kilowatt hour. You can't even really get it close. I do wonder if that difference in efficiency of heat transfer makes a big enough difference to warrant using it. It's certainly a bit easier to use. We've got another modded bit of chat. I'm going to let that one show. I don't understand why that got modded. I mean, you're getting slightly political now, but I'm going to allow it just because you boys are getting on at each other. We'll call the stream in a minute. You guys are just like, okay. Abdul finding it funny as well. Anyway, I'm definitely going to call it. It's been a pretty good evening. I think it's time to call the chat here. Thanks to everyone who's been in, even the people getting to each other about the Americans v English people in the chat. You guys are having a laugh today with that. But yeah, and I don't know if Catherine's still here, but it's lovely to meet you. I hope you're subbed, and I'll see you again on another day, hopefully. There's been some cracking people in that I've already said goodbye to, so they've already gone. But yeah, cheers again, Sparker, for being in, and yeah, thanks for making an appearance now. And Abdul, who's been hanging around for a while and throwing in the odd comment, love it. Yeah, thanks anyone else who's been watching. Appreciate everyone. if you haven't hit it, or make sure you hit that subscribe button. Yeah, just have a good evening, and hope to see you all again soon. But for now, as always, have fun.